Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Buckets and Birdies podcast.
Buckets and Birdies is a weekly glimpse into the worlds of basketball and golf.
We'll also balance national sports trends with ACC insights
and provide a lens of notable happenings of sports in our home state of North Carolina.
Two friends and industry professionals getting together to bring you 23 minutes of fun each week with shared experiences around buckets
and birdies.
He's Carter Bills, sports agent and seasoned consultant in the golf space.
Joining me on the mic is national champion, Tar Heel great, Marcus Ginyard.
Welcome to Buckets and Birdies.
Welcome to another episode of the Buckets and Birdies podcast.
Marcus, it's Monday, March the 2nd. I can't believe it's March. When everyone's hearing this one, it will be Friday, March the 6th all of a sudden.
That's right, because every new episode releases Friday at high noon.
Thanks to everybody for catching up with us for 23 minutes of our thoughts for you this week.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you.
And as positive people who like positive things, we'll start out today, as we do always, Marcus, with our quote of the day. And today the quote is, "Be quick, but don't hurry." Who said that one?
Coach Wooden.
Coach John Wooden.
Yes, sir. What a legendary coach. Incredible program. Left such a lasting impression on the game of basketball and just on so many different young athletes out there, both men and women. Yeah, man. It's amazing to think that those types of quotes and people from that long ago are still having an impact on the game today. He's certainly somebody that we continue to think about over here in Chapel Hill, just knowing how great of a coach he was.
Absolutely. I know that Coach Wooden, like Coach Smith, have so many quotables. Coach Williams used to have a quote of the day, and I wouldn't be surprised, Marcus, if you heard a number from probably Coach Wooden and Coach Smith along the way.
I'm sure I did. Couldn't tell you which ones were which, but they were all gems, that's for sure.
All right, Marcus, so that takes us nicely into off the top. And as we said, it is March. What is on your mind today?
March Madness. This is the best time of year, man. It's super exciting to think about March Madness, to think about some of these key matchups towards the end of the season as we get into the ACC tournament and other conference tournaments around the country, and then on to the NCAA tournament, which then, as you know, goes right into the Masters. So this is really, I think, one of the most exciting times of year in sports.
Absolutely. It is my most favorite time of the year. I think, to steal a Christmas quote, it's the most wonderful time of the year. When you go from March Madness into the Masters, I think you can't beat it, Marcus.
No, you definitely can't. So I will be trying to get as much work done as early as possible to make sure I got the most flexibility with the schedule here to catch some of these games coming up.
That sounds right. You and me both. And off the top for me this week, I think about Carolina Duke coming next Saturday. We got a couple games to talk about before that. And I don't know if you had a chance to catch Carolina Duke women this past Sunday. The Tar Heels defeated the Blue Devils 74-69 in Carmichael. Huge win for the Lady Tar Heels. Proud of them. Glad to see the Carolina Blue come out on top.
Yeah, man, I did catch that game. Watched it on the couch. Congrats to Coach Banghart and her program. She's just continuing to do a phenomenal job getting that team ready to play night in and night out. And they, to me, have looked better and better as the season is going on. So excited to see them play. Hoping actually to get down to Georgia and catch them in the ACC tournament if schedules will align. So excited to see them in the postseason as well.
That's awesome. And it was a big time Heels weekend for us this weekend, Marcus. As I shared with you and Pablo, we have a new member of our family in my household. Let me give you guys a glimpse. We actually got a puppy.
Oh, man.
He is a Cavapoo, and I say we have a lot of Heels because his name is Heels.
Let's go. What's up, Heels? How we doing?
Hey,
Look
Marcus.
at that, man. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Heels.
Good for you,
so
man.
Many hoops games we will be watching together in our future. He has already started watching golf with me as I've been working or here on the weekends. So buckets and birdies for this guy.
Oh, man. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
He's cute. That is amazing, bro.
All right, Marcus, and Heels takes us nicely into buckets. Let's get started with the Tar Heels. We last spoke on Thursday, not too long ago. Carolina played one game in between that time. Virginia Tech Hokies last Saturday at home. What'd you see? What'd you take from that game?
Yeah, I mean, just like we talked about before, Carter, a scrappy, athletic Virginia Tech team that always seems to be kind of in the fight throughout the game, which they were on Saturday evening. I just think that Carolina again found a way to win a game that wasn't necessarily the prettiest. Certainly saw some good things across the board, but at the end of the day, found a way to win at home, hold on to their undefeated record at home in the Smith Center, which I think is incredible. And we'll talk a little bit about how that'll be on the line here on Tuesday. But again, some of the same things we've talked about all year. What weren't perfect, but found a way to win, and ultimately that's the most meaningful takeaway, in my opinion.
That's right. Wins are huge, especially while Caleb Wilson has been over there on the bench. It's been a scary time. Certainly, we talked about having Caleb and Henry over there together on the bench was not fun. Great to have Henry continue to play well and really anchor us on the inside. And I know I've mentioned to you before, I really like the spark of energy I see from Jonathan Powell. I know we need consistency, but I feel like when he wants to, he can just be a dog defensively, and then obviously comes in with as a prolific shooter and can really fill it up on that end when the jump shot is hot.
Yeah, I mean, we think about it in terms of quote unquote instant offense, right? He's always locked and loaded, ready to shoot. I know that he shoots the ball well and he shoots it with confidence, and that's important. And you mentioned that he can be a dog defensively, and I think that we've got a bunch of guys on the team that can really step it up and take it to the next level defensively, when they want. And I think it's just going to be a matter of the entire team locking in. You got great anchors in the post with Stevenson and Vasar, but at the end of the day, everybody's got to step it up and want to be that dog on defense.
Absolutely. And there are tons of important games coming up this week down the final stretch of the regular season. But before we take a look at those, it takes us to our game of the week in our buckets section, Marcus. For which bucket getter am I? It takes us to a unique question where actually this has only happened one time this century. There is a player in the ACC that has scored at least 14 points, had 5 rebounds, and at least 2 assists in every game he has played. And that has only happened again one time this century in men's or women's college basketball. It is a men's player currently in the ACC. Which bucket getter am I?
Carter, I thought that I heard this on TV when I was watching the game over the weekend, and it absolutely blew my mind when I heard this stat. But I'm pretty sure you're talking about the gentleman right down the road here wearing the other color blue, Slim, not going to say slime this time, Isaiah Evans.
This, I believe, is Cam Boozer.
Oh, hello. Okay. Man, I thought Isaiah Evans did something crazy like scoring 15 points or something like that in all of his games this year. Anyway, I mean, both of those guys are playing incredible basketball right now, quite frankly. But congrats to Cam Boozer. That's a big time stat right there.
No doubt about it. Yeah, Isaiah Evans was a good guess. He's probably scored that many points per game. Probably the rebounds might put Cameron over the edge, I would imagine. And kudos to him getting at least 2 assists every game too. So not bad.
Not bad at all.
All right, so now, Marcus, we take a look at the schedule this week. As we mentioned, the last regular season week of ACC basketball. It's hard to believe that we're already here. North Carolina has a huge one on Tuesday. We'll get to that as Clemson comes to Chapel Hill. But first, we have Duke and State facing off against each other as the Blue Devils travel to Raleigh and tip off at 7 p.m. tonight, Monday, March the 2nd.
That's going to be a big time game. I think it's kind of one of those top 10 games to watch this week. There's going to be a bunch of quote unquote rivalry games, but ultimately games that have large implications with where teams end up in their conference seeding for their tournaments and ultimately for the NCAA tournament. So this would be a huge opportunity for North Carolina State to get a quality win. I mean, the highest quality win you can get right now in college basketball against the Blue Devils. It will allow the Blue Devils to potentially continue to solidify, their spot as the number 1 seed in the ACC and get another win as well. But super excited to see what that matchup's going to hold. North Carolina State has been largely inconsistent this season, but has shown that they have the ability to string some possessions together and put some points on the board. So we'll see what happens tonight. But yeah, it'll be a big time matchup for sure.
That's right. I know the Tar Heels did not have Caleb Wilson, did not have Henry Vasar when they went to Raleigh, but NC State sure played well that night. Let's hope they bring that kind of effort and make it a great game against the Blue Devils tonight, Marcus.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is one of those games where it's tough to get behind either one of these teams, but we'll just have to enjoy it for the value of high level basketball.
That's it. And it's got to be about heart at this time of year, right? State, again, if they come with that same energy, when you roll the ball out, you're playing for the name on the front of the jersey. It's March, you're feeling tournament time coming. What is that feeling like? Did those games ratchet up a little bit differently, Marcus?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. It's March. You're a couple games away from, from really, crunch time. Let's call it. The money time, where every game is potentially your last game, and so I think that heart is absolutely got to be, first on your priority list. Just go out there and compete, and things definitely turn up in March. Again, this last week is super important, and then you're getting into the conference tournament. You're preparing for the biggest goals that you have set for yourselves that season. So things absolutely turn up in March, and I hope we get to see that, and I'm sure we will. But it feels different once March rolls around.
That's it. And the Duke Blue Devils play at Raleigh tonight, as we mentioned. Tomorrow night, the Clemson Tigers come to town to Chapel Hill to play the North Carolina Tar Heels. Clemson and Carolina knotted squarely, I believe, in the ACC standings at 11-5. Marcus, no game bigger this week, perhaps, in conference than that one.
Yeah, this is going to be a big time matchup, Carter. Clemson coming to Carolina. Carolina has an opportunity to defend home court. They've done great all season. They're undefeated right now. And again, you mentioned they're tied in the standings, fourth place, if I'm not mistaken. So an opportunity for them to separate themselves.
That's it. That's it. And wow, you mentioned an opportunity to remain undefeated and really finish out the season undefeated at home as our last home game, Marcus. What would that be? 17-0? Have we ever done that before?
I believe you're right. I think it is 17-0, and I believe back in 2016 or 17 potentially we were undefeated in the Smith Center. Obviously, we don't get a trophy for that, but I think it's just a huge accomplishment, and just shows you the value of home court advantage. And ultimately, one of the things that you have the most control over is your home court. So I think it just says a lot about this team and their focus here in Chapel Hill.
Well, for all of our listeners who believe in good signs, in 2016 and in 2017, the North Carolina Tar Heels did advance to the final game and play for the NCAA tournament. So that's not too bad of an omen, Marcus.
Hey, we'll take some more of that right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of omens, interestingly enough, with the Duke and NC State game this week, I don't know if you saw this, but it sounds like Duke needs to lose to NC State for those who believe in signs for a chance to win the national championship. So in 2010 and in 2015, Duke did a lot of things, number one in the country, played really well like they are this season. But those two national championship seasons, Marcus, had one thing in common. They both lost to NC State. Duke hadn't done that yet this season. So maybe Duke fans stand to gain from a loss at NC State, at least those who are superstitious. What do you think?
Man, I don't know. I think that's going to be tough sell. But again, for me, in my perspective, I wish there was some way that both teams could walk away with a loss here. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
Well, somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to break this tie at third on Tuesday night. And then I mentioned probably no bigger game in conference for the rankings standpoint than Tuesday's matchup of Clemson and North Carolina, but no bigger game nationally as Duke has their rematch against North Carolina when the Tar Heels march 8 miles down to Durham on Saturday night, 6:30 tip in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Marcus, how excited are you for the second round of the greatest rivalry in North American sports this Saturday?
I mean, you already referenced Christmas, and that's exactly what it feels like to me. It feels like Christmas again, right? The rematch of, the best rivalry in sports. This time, across town in Durham, that they're probably chomping at the bit to have another opportunity to square up against us after what happened here in Chapel Hill.
Mhm.
Both teams will have grown a little bit since that moment. It wasn't so long ago, but both teams have definitely experienced some things in the in between, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there's some chance out there that we get Caleb Wilson back on the court for that matchup. He lives for these big time matchups against great players like Cam Boozer, and so yeah, I mean it's exciting. You start to kind of get the chills a little bit thinking about it, because that game is just so it's so remarkable, so unique. in Chapel Hill and in Durham. Just one of those games that you absolutely love to watch. So really looking forward to this weekend.
I got chills, as you mentioned, getting chills talking about it. So you were spot on. And I'm picturing Caleb's big smile. And I'm thinking the only way he doesn't come back and play is if doctors just tell him there's no way. And certainly I want Caleb, I know you do too, Marcus, to do what's best for him and to get healthy. And I don't want him to get hurt. But gosh, if he can play, I'd love to see him out there with Carolina Blue on Saturday in Durham.
Totally. I mean, I like our chances going in there without him, but I love our chances going in there with him.
Amen.
All right, Carter, as we transition now from buckets to birdies, we will get back to your favorite game where I give you a year and you have to tell me the NCAA men's basketball champion as well as the Masters champion. And this week, moving forward, we will dub this game Nets and Jackets.
Ooh.
Carter, your year today is 2013.
2013. Okay. So 2013 was Louisville and 2013 Adam Scott.
I still cannot understand how you do this, but I think it's incredible. Okay, so tell me who Louisville beat in the championship.
Ooh, was that Michigan? Was that
It was Michigan.
Tim Hardaway Jr. and how was the other guard? Trey Burke?
Oh, Burke. Yeah, I think so.
Trey,
I
yeah,
think you're
Trey
right.
Burke. I mean, great backcourt. Coach Beeline had a really good team coming out of the Big Ten that year. I think Pitino was back, which was interesting because 2012 was John Calipari winning at Kentucky, and Pitino did a little, not so fast. Anything you can do, I can do better, and had his own championship down the road in Louisville, which is wild. Think about that as a rivalry. If I don't even want to say it, one of our coaches goes and wins for the other school, it just doesn't feel right,
Right.
So interesting times.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Well, congrats. You got another win under your belt, man. All right, so that takes us nicely into birdies. Tell us what's going on in the golf world.
No doubt, no doubt. So only one event since we last called up. I just got back in Florida from being down where the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches is, Marcus, and it was nice and warm down there. I came home. It was a little chilly, but all of a sudden this weekend it warmed up, 70 and sunny on Sunday. Did you get outside at all? Did you play any golf? Did you watch any golf? How did your weekend go? Any golf in your recent forecast?
Man, I wish I got to play some golf. I definitely thought about it. Was on the phone with a couple of friends of mine who were playing golf. Sadly, did not get the invite, but I did get outside, went for a nice long walk, and thought about how it'd be nice to be walking a golf course. But look forward to things warming up here a little bit, and hopefully get out there and swing the clubs.
Absolutely. You and me both. I did have an opportunity, I thought, to play while I was in Florida. I'll share a little secret with you. I was supposed to play Seminole Golf Club, which is on my bucket list. If I Rushmore the top golf courses in the whole sport, Marcus, I think I would go Augusta and Pine Valley and Cypress in some order, and I would put Seminole fourth. And unfortunately, I had too much going on and had to give my spot up. You have no idea, or maybe you do. I think you do have an idea how gutted I was to give that spot up, but we'll have to do it again.
I hate to hear that, man. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. But we did get good work done. We got home. I did see the end of the Cognizant Classic on TV. For those who didn't catch it, Nico Echavarria ended up hoisting the trophy and winning at 17 under. Huge congratulations to him, the Colombian who has been in the States a long time, went to Arkansas, is a great player, kind of a journeyman that has won now 3 times on the PGA Tour, so he knows what he's doing. Gosh, he looks 17 years old, but again, 31 and has been out there a while and has played well all season. It sort of shows you that consistency pays off. On the other end, with the thrill of victory always is the agony of defeat, and I hated it for Shane Lowry, such a great guy. I love Shane, and Marcus, Shane was leading all weekend. He started off his final round pretty well. He had 33, I believe, on the front. He had an eagle on 10. He's marching towards what looked to be a victory. He double bogeyed 2 of the last 3 holes, I believe it was, coming home. And unfortunately, Nico had posted that 17 under. And again, congrats to Nico. It takes 4 rounds of scoring to post to score to win. Gosh, Marcus, I did hate that for Shane. He looked like he was marching towards victory there. And I certainly know what it's like to double bogey a couple holes when it means something coming home. I haven't played in too many tournaments, but those I have, I certainly know what those double bogeys feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know what double bogey in the hole feels like too. It's never meant anything when I did, but I can definitely understand what that's like. You think about a basketball game, you play 38 good minutes, and for the last 2 minutes, you just can't pull it together. So, very similar. You play all weekend, and to lose it at the end like that's got to be gut wrenching. But I do like Shane Lowry, so hopefully he'll be able to bounce back from this. But congrats to Nico. All right, Carter, that brings us nicely to our Beyond the Box Score story focus.
Everything Marcus and I talk about is beyond the box score, but each week we specifically dive into one story from the North State Journal's Beyond the Box Score feature in the sports section.
The North State Journal is North Carolina's only statewide newspaper.
For more on the North State Journal, check out nsjonline.com. Marcus, today's story has us in Guilford County yet again, in Guilford Technical Community College's Nikel Rodgers, the Zebulon native and graduate of East Wake, so from Raleigh as well, dropped 17 of 23 threes in his most recent basketball game. Let's let that sink in first. 17 to 23.
That's wild, man. I just started giggling as you mentioned that, man. 17 threes. I mean, some teams aren't making 17 threes in a game, let alone one player. I mean, there's probably some teams that hadn't made 17 threes in a handful of games.
Right.
So the fact that he can not only hoist 17, but to knock down 17 threes in one game, to me is unreal.
Unreal indeed. So he breaks a national junior college record with that outing. He scores 54 points, Marcus, in all. Again, the 17 to 23, good for 74% from the three-point line. That'd be a decent foul shooting percentage for a game. I mean, the Heels would take that right now.
We definitely would, man. 74% would knock us up quite a bit. But man, that's awesome, man. 17 threes is crazy. 54 points is crazy. You get the win. I mean, all the things, right? Like he checks all the boxes. Incredible outing. I'm surprised I didn't see this on SportsCenter somewhere. I don't know why we didn't, but or maybe I just missed it. But incredible outing for Nikel. Man, keep letting that thing fly, man. Keep shooting that thing. We might see him on a level up next year. You never know.
That's it. I got a feeling like somebody's going to come knocking after this. And if he wasn't on SportsCenter, Marcus, some people call a guy. Maybe we need to get him on the tube, man. This guy, he breaks a record previously held by Jonathan Loria of Hostos Community College. He had 16 threes, but 17 again for Nikel Rodgers. Congratulations, Nikel.
Yes, sir. Congrats, Nikel.
All right, guys, that's all for today.
Thanks for tuning in to the Buckets and Birdies podcast.
That's 23 minutes of our thoughts for you. For Marcus Ginyard, I'm Carter Bills.
We'll catch you next time.